easy peasy lemon squeezy. Hello my friends, this is Mac from the Wi-Fi Ninjas, and in today's video I wanted to discuss microphone, preamps, interfaces and connections. What do you connect and where and why? When you're on the market for a microphone, you will see that you have two choices. Actually, you will have more choices than just two, but you will have two choices when it comes to connectivity. First category of microphones are the USB mics, all-in-one microphones that you just connect to your computer and do nothing. They're just being seen as an audio recording device and they just work. And then the other category is the XLR microphones. And the XLR mics, they are more complicated a little bit because you're spoiled with choice. And also XLR mics, typically they're just that, they're just microphones and they have nothing built into them. You need to connect these microphones to a separate device, an interface that gives you all the effects, that gives you all the knobs, bells and whistles, built-in preamps, digital to, well, analog to digital converters. And typically, like all these different parts, they can be as cheap or as expensive as you want them to be. Maybe you buy a cheaper mic and more expensive interface just to buy a more expensive mic later on. So maybe you don't need to upgrade your interface at that point in time. So you only upgrade the parts that you really need. It gives you more agility, flexibility, possibilities, but also you need to do a better research because you're not only looking at the microphone, you're looking at the interface and do they have a phantom power? Maybe your microphone requires that. Do they have an equalizer? Maybe you want to have it. Do they have some special effects like I will discuss that later on, but you need to do a proper research as opposed to just USB mics. And USB mics, they have all these components bundled into a small microphone. So you will have a microphone, you will have an interface, preamp and digital analog to digital converter all built into a single microphone. Typically these mics will have like a good bundle package price, the USB mics, that will be cheap, good value, and they still can give you a good quality. Just looking at few new microphones in the market like Shure MV7, it sounds amazing, or Rode USB Mini, it sounds amazing. And also you can even use like a little bit cheaper mics like Blue Yeti or Blue Yeti Mini or Blue Yeti X. These are fantastic mics, but in my opinion, you need to have slightly better environment for these mics to sound good because they are very bad at picking up background noise and echo and stuff. So you probably will need to eat them up quite a lot, which is not the best experience, right? If you want to use this microphone on the video. So that's it, XLR and USB. Pretty much all the mics tested here, they are XLR microphones. And as discussed before, they come in different form factors, different types of microphones. So just to refresh your memory, if you didn't watch that, you have dynamic mics, you have condenser mics, you have side address mics like my NT2000, you have front address mics like Shure SM7B, for example. You can have shotgun mics, you can have lavalier mics, and they are all different. They have different characteristics. You position them differently. You use them in different scenarios typically. So you have found the mic that suits your purpose perfectly. Now, what do you connect it to? Let's focus now on preamps and interfaces. What is an interface? So interface is a device with built-in preamp that your microphone connects to, typically an XLR microphone, and it requires an interface with a preamp for the mic to amplify its signal, so it's louder. Additionally, interfaces, they can have built-in extra functionality like equalizers or audio processing. I have a Rodecaster Pro here with tons of fantastic audio processing, different profiles and stuff like this. Some interfaces, like my Rodecaster, they might allow you to record directly to the interface without having to connect it to your computer and using software to record your voice. But what if you want to connect it to your computer? And the answer is most modern interfaces these days, they are digital, meaning that you will be able to connect them to your machine using USB. I mentioned preamps there. So what is the preamp? Preamp, it will amplify your signal. We know that already. But preamps, they have also different form factors. So typically, in most cases, you will have a preamp built into the interface, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But sometimes on top of the built-in preamp in your interface, you will want to amplify your signal even further without having to use excessive gain on your interface. Because some microphones, they are just that power hungry. When you take a look at Shure SM7B or Rode PodMic, they are very gain hungry. They're so hungry to the point where most interfaces that I have tested, they were not powerful enough for these mics to give me clear voice without adding this annoying hissing noise. In this case, you will probably want to use something called an inline preamp. That is an additional device, typically powered using phantom power from the interface, and it will sit in between the interface and the microphone, and it will further amplify the signal without adding too much noise. Condenser mics normally do require phantom power, 12 or 48 volts from your interface and nothing else. Dynamic microphones, on the other hand, they normally do not require phantom power, with some exceptions like Aston Stealth because of its built-in preamp. But what they need instead, they need a lot of gain, and they will normally benefit from additional inline preamp. I have tested 4 different interfaces and preamps for this audio video series. First one is my Rodecaster Pro that I have here, and man, I like this device. It's so sleek, easy to use, amazing, good quality that I want to honestly cry from happiness on a daily basis while using it. It just looks so good on my desk. It's unbelievable. It is strong. It is a low noise device. It has very good quality preamps that are very low noise. It's packed with connectivity options. It has 4 SLR ports. It has USB connectivity to your computer, Bluetooth for your phone. It has analog port. I'm using all of them pretty much, and I love it. Every second spent with it. It has some programmable pads that you can assign some effects to, like I will play like oh. You get the point, right? So you can program all of that however you want. You also have built-in audio processing, good quality. So I was testing this audio processing while testing all the microphones in this audio video series. So go back to previous videos and then you will see how they affect the quality of my voice. It's a little bit expensive-ish. I paid around £500 for it around a year ago, and today I've checked and it's a little bit cheaper. You can buy it for £400. I guess you get what you pay for. Absolutely worth it. The other interface that I was testing with Matt, we both had it, is M-Audio R192-6 interface. It was a very simple interface, extremely good quality as well, way cheaper than the Rodecaster, but the conclusion was that it was not strong enough for the microphones that we had at that time. So we were testing it with a PodMic and with Shure SM7B, and they didn't work too well when they had these microphones connected directly to M-Audio R192-6. However, it would work perfectly well if you just put an inline preamp that I will talk about in a sec. Another interface that we've tested was the Rode AI1 interface. Very simple interface from Rode, where you just have like a power on button, phantom on button, and nothing else, and a volume knob, like a gain knob. That's it. It was extremely simple and again not too powerful, similarly to M-Audio. So even though I've seen bundles of Rode AI1 interface bought together with PodMic as an ultimate podcasting equipment, I absolutely don't agree with that bundles, that they are good quality. They're not working out of the box too well, because in order for my pod mic to work well, I needed to give it tons of gain where I had this annoying hissing sound. So I didn't like it on its own. If you add a preamp in between your pod mic and your Rode AI One interface, then you're sorted. So I've mentioned this inline preamp like twice or 3 times already. I've had a good preamp from my friend, Alan. He has sent over a Dynamite inline preamp. It was extremely simple. You've seen it in some videos attached to my microphone, like a red thing that is like that long, that thick, or I don't know how to say it. It has no buttons. It just requires phantom power from your interface. You connect it in between your interface, like a Rodecaster, and your microphone, like Shure SM7B or Rode pod mic, and it just amplifies the signal further from the from the access point, from the microphone, without adding too much noise, and it worked absolutely fantastically. So just to wrap it up, I am using Rodecaster Pro together with Matt, with all the audio processing turned on. For my NT2000 microphone, I have NT1 profile selected. My voice strength and depth, they are both set to medium. And Matt is using soft because of his girly voice. So he does have a custom requirement from his interface. And that's really it, guys. That's all I wanted to talk about today when it comes to very short intro into preamps and interfaces. Thanks.